Welcome to Secrets Unlocked. If you enjoy intimate confessions and forbidden stories, check the private archive linked in the description. Subscribe, settle in, and enjoy the story. She was a strikingly lovely woman, and I couldn't understand why the man with her was marching along a couple of meters ahead. He didn't seem to care that she was trying to keep up, slowed a bit by her stylish, heeled half boots on the sloping terrain. Tall and slim, perhaps in her mid-30s, her blunt-cut, ash-blonde hair framed an attractive angular face with big expressive eyes. She deserved better. The man ahead of this beauty strode along, his face set and scowling, seemingly oblivious to the eyes following her. She stood out from others nearby, her tailored black leather jacket highlighting her fine posture underneath. It was a bit cool that morning, so she wore matching black gloves, along with tight blue jeans showcasing her long, shapely legs. He didn't seem to notice. Corner 2 is probably the best viewing spot on the entire circuit for people in cars. I've been here often over the past 40 years, first with my father, later with my ex, then with our son and some of my friends. The race cars crest a low hill at high speed, then careen down the other side blind. There's a tight, off-camber left turn at the bottom which pushes the speeding cars to the outside, toward the tire barrier. Spectators gather on the gentle slope along the fence by the track marshal's stand. Here we're above the cars, safe from the machines blazing past less than 10 meters away. It's close enough to see the drivers' frenzied movements as they steer, downshift, and brake to avoid disaster. The couple was passing in single file in front of me, and I wanted to talk to the lady. It didn't seem like much of a risk, given the usually friendly ambience at the track. "He's a lucky man," I boldly commented to her, nodding toward him, adding, "Too bad more women don't join their men here." "Thank you," she smiled sweetly, and I noticed her sad blue eyes. "What did you say?" The guy had overheard me and possibly her softer reply. He turned back to glare, but I saw that I had height and muscle on him. Still, I was polite. "You just never know." "Just saying that you're a lucky guy to have your woman come here with you. Mine came once, but didn't like the noise," I explained. "Yeah, I suppose." Then turning to the ashen-blonde beauty stopped in front of me, he barked, "Come on, Angela." He abruptly turned on his heel and continued on while Angela gave me one more shy little smile and rushed to close the distance between them. I shook my head at how shabbily he treated this beautiful lady. Later in the afternoon, they came back to corner 2 again, just before the feature race. He was leading the way once more, Angela trotting along obediently like a trained pet. She had discarded her leather jacket, now carrying it slung over the shoulder of her tight, pink sweater. My suspicions about her upper body were confirmed by her proud, elegant posture. Angela noticed me looking at her, so turned my way with a little smile of recognition and a mouthed, "Hello." Then they moved about 20 meters from me along the fence to watch the cars on their pace lap, the guy paying no attention to her whatsoever. During the next hour, I probably spent more time pretending to follow cars down the hill while actually staring at Angela. She was very attractive and beguiling. When the hour-long vintage feature ended, I could see that they were about to leave, so I maneuvered myself to a spot where they would need to pass by me. Sure, Angela's good looks and fine figure drew me, but there was something in that little smile and those big, sad eyes that held me. This time when they passed, I stepped out to talk to the guy. "So, did you like the race? That big cobra blasting past the Lotus on the blind crest was a ballsy move, wasn't it?" A comment like this from a complete stranger at a sporting event wouldn't seem unusual at all. Fans are like a fraternity, drawn by the same interests. He stopped, and Angela almost walked into the back of him. "Yeah, good race," was all he had to say, and not in a particularly friendly tone. "How about you? Did you enjoy it?" I asked Angela before he started off. Yes, thanks, I like old cars, she said softly with a smile that lit up her lovely face. She looked right into my eyes for a few moments, then gave a little shrug of her shoulders and a sad pout before turning to rush off behind him. I thought that would likely be the last I'd ever see of Angela, this apparently unhappy and ignored woman. I'm a divorced man with grown children. Halfway through my 50s, I live alone and have a career in graphic design. Now there's plenty of time for my own interests, particularly watching motor racing, and I work out at the gym a lot. It's important to me to look and feel good. Who wants to become a decrepit old man? My life moves along easily enough from week to week, from event to event. It's smooth, but rather empty because something is lacking. I have plenty of friends who share my interest in fast cars and fitness, but not much female company. My wife and I grew apart a long time ago, and at this age I don't care for the bar scene. This was a weekend event, so I towed my small camper and set up in a shady spot along the forest fringe, not far from the top of the long back straight section of the track. It's another popular spot because the cars reach maximum speed as they thunder uphill through the trees to another hill crest. I've seen cars become airborne there at 250-kilometer speeds, a sobering experience. There was a line of trailers parked there, one rig larger than the rest. After the first day's events were finished, I sat in front of mine, beer in hand. I'd come alone this time, everybody busy with something else this early spring weekend. Then Angela walked by, dutifully following her guy and what looked like a loud group of his male friends. She spotted me and gave a smile with a discreet little hand wave. What a fine woman, I thought. I wonder where she's sleeping tonight. Then I watched as the group turned in at the big rig just beyond me. They went inside and the guys soon came out with beers in hand. Not Angela, though, probably inside getting food ready for them, I guessed. Later she came out with several big bowls and her guy fired up the barbecue. It was time to get my own supper together. I hoped that I'd see Angela again at corner 2 tomorrow. Sometime after midnight I awakened to a frantic knocking on my trailer door. Was I dreaming? No, there it was again. I opened it and Angela quickly pushed past me and rushed inside. She was very upset, still dressed as I'd seen her a few times earlier in the day. But there was some blood on her chin and it had dripped onto the pink sweater. She was sniffling. "Quick, shut the door," she sobbed. "Angela, Jesus, what happened? What's going on?" "I don't want him to hit me again." "He hit you. Is he coming after you? Fight or flight?" I was instantly ready to kick his sorry ass. "My husband, he kicked me out." "Good Lord, I'll get you a cloth and some water. Let's clean you up. Where's that cut?" "My bottom lip, it hurts." "Let's see. Damn, he split it open. Nasty cut. I have some ice or it'll swell up all black and blue." "Thanks, I don't even know your name, but you seemed friendly at the track today. His friends are as bad as him. No help to me tonight." Greg Carpenter. I know you're Angela. He doesn't treat you very well, does he?" "No, like shit a lot of the time." I had the ice cubes now and put them in a little plastic bag to press against her lip. Meanwhile, I dabbed away at the blood on her chin and looked down at the drops on the front of her sweater. I hesitated. "Much as I'd like to get that blood off your sweater, Angela, it's right on your... Well, here, I'll hold the ice against your lip while you dab at the sweater." She gave me that beautiful smile, then grimaced as a fresh flow of blood oozed from her split lip. "I was right about you, Greg Carpenter. You're a nice guy." I couldn't help but notice how beautiful this woman looked close up. Smooth, flawless skin, currently tear-stained, full, bowed lips and big liquid blues. And some asshole was beating on her. It seemed unbelievable. She continued. "I've been with Rocco for nearly 10 years now. 10 too many. He doesn't care a damn about me anymore. Maybe he never really did, and she started to cry. Careful now. You don't want that lip to bleed again, I soothed her, bringing my arm around her shoulder to comfort. I hate to see women or little kids cry. She didn't flinch, so I pulled a little tighter and met no resistance. To my surprise, Angela took my hand and squeezed it. When she stopped sniffling and was breathing easy again, I spoke softly to soothe her. Angela, what will you do now? There's a hospital about 20 minutes south of here if you want to go to emergency. I can take you. Been there myself once. I think my lip will be fine if you have a bandage. It's not bleeding anymore, as long as I don't smile or laugh. I'll get my first aid kit out. There's a bit of everything in there, I replied. But I don't know what to do now. Rocco hit me and pushed me out. Said he didn't care if I lived or died anymore because I was no use to him. He makes me feel like garbage sometimes. I don't want to go back there tonight. Now what? Was Angela asking to stay with me for the night? That would be great, but I didn't want to get myself into the middle of a domestic dispute, especially when Rocco had his posse of buddies to back him up. But I didn't want to send her back there either. There had to be some other solution. I thought about it for a bit as I carefully applied a couple of bandages to her mouth. You know, Angela, this lip is worse than I thought. It's still seeping, and it looks like your teeth cut down into it when he hit you. I think you need to have a doctor look at it. It would be a shame to have such a nice face disfigured by that jerk of a husband. I was appealing to her vanity, but something also told me it would be wise to have this abuse documented. Well, you say it's close. I know Rocco won't take me. I will. Like I said, I've been there. One year I stepped into a little hole at night and wrenched my back so badly that a friend took me. When I told the doctor that it happened at the track, he just laughed because this place used to be party central. Anyway, I left on crutches, a cracked vertebrae. Ouch, it must have hurt. Oh yeah, so let's go now. I don't think it'll be very busy at this late hour. Angela thought about it, staring at my face all the while, as if she was trying to read my intentions. I was glad that she couldn't see the hidden part of me that would gladly offer her a safe place to rest and recover. I was keeping that guy tightly under control. Then she gave me her verdict. That would be perfect, but you'll have to put on some clothes first. She gave a little grin at her own joke as I looked down and realized that I still wore nothing but my boxer shorts. Oh shit, sorry, I'll get dressed right now. Do you need to pick up anything at your rig before we leave? Right. I don't suppose you want to go back there tonight, do you? No, I'm finished with that bastard, she spit out with disgust. We talked a little on the short drive to the hospital, but Angela was pretty quiet, clearly thinking about her predicament. Her lip started to bleed through the bandages, so she pressed a tissue against it most of the way there. I was wondering what came next, not eager to take her back to my trailer or deliver her to Rocco's. Upon arrival, we saw that the emergency department wasn't very busy, and after about a half hour we went in to see a doctor. As soon as I had an opportunity, I quietly told her that Angela's husband had done this to her. The doc pulled out her cell phone and took photos of the split lip before and after removing the bandages. I asked her to text us copies because I was already thinking that Angela should get away from Rocco. I'll also give you a copy of the full intake report including the cause of the injury, the doctor told Angela. If this was no accident, it's important to have it fully documented. Yes, my husband did it, smacked me with the back of his hand. Then keep my report and the photos, Angela, she said in a kind voice. The doctor froze her lip and stitched it carefully, commenting that she had to get this right to avoid a permanent scar. It's a good thing you came in to have this fixed properly. The stitches should dissolve in a week or so, but make an appointment with your doctor if they become lodged or infected. And good luck. I hope this doesn't happen to you again." The doctor's parting words sealed a decision that I'd been rolling around since we arrived at the hospital. "Where's home?" I asked Angela. "Is it far from here?" "An hour or so west along this highway, in the city right downtown." "I could take you there tonight. Better than anything else I can think of. Do you have your house keys with you now?" "Yes, keys and wallet. Greg, you drive me all that way in the middle of the night. Really, I've already taken too much of your time with my own problems," she exclaimed. "It seems to me like you need a friend right now." "My friends call me Angie." It was a moonless night, but I knew the route to the city well enough. There was almost no traffic as we sped along through the dark, and when we got closer to the Capitol, I punched in the address Angela gave me. My intention was to drop her off at home, then turn right around to return to the track. I didn't want Rocco to have any idea where his spurned wife had gone or how she got there, but I figured that I should get her number before I left. Along the way, we made some small talk, with her gradually revealing what had led up to her split lip. "He didn't like me talking to you at the track today. That was the problem." "So, Rocco's a controlling little jerk, isn't he?" "Yes, he is. Small man syndrome, I guess. He has to be completely in charge all the time and he just gets worse." "And he hit you just for that?" "No, I was bold enough to tell him to let up on me a bit. One of his buddies heard that and Rocco didn't like me standing up to him in front of his friends, so he slapped me hard." "Angie, you seem like a nice person. Why do you stay with him?" I ask myself the same thing sometimes. This time he pushed me too far. Right now I just hate him. After that we didn't say much for a while, as the dark outlines of buildings and trees glided past my car. Both of us were thinking about all that had happened in the past few hours, the shocking event that had led to this clandestine car ride. But when the city lights became more prominent, Angela brightened a bit too. It was as if she'd left Rocco far enough behind that he wouldn't be coming for her. At least not tonight. It was about 3:00 a.m. when we pulled up to her apartment building, a classy place in a nice part of downtown. I stopped by the front entry ready to say goodbye and ask for her number. Angela beat me to the punch. "Greg, please come up with me. I'll make you some coffee to keep you awake because you won't be back to the track until almost dawn." I hesitated because I knew that if I went up for coffee I would want to stay for more. This sad woman was important to me, and I admitted to myself that I didn't really want to say goodbye. In less than 24 hours, her plight had become important to me, but there was more to it than that. "Okay, Angie, that would be nice. Just a cup of coffee, then I'll go back." "Sure, but we'll exchange numbers too, okay? You're good to talk to Greg, and you treat me much better than I'm used to. Sometimes things seem so bad here." The apartment was very high-end. Angela and Rocco had a good life materially if not romantically. City lights beamed through the huge floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the fine furniture and thick carpeting. Big pieces of modern art dressed many of the walls. I was impressed. "Nice place, Angie," I whistled softly. "Thanks," then she moved toward the kitchen. "Get comfortable. I'll start the coffee and be back shortly. I want to clean up a bit and take a closer look at my lip." I got up and began to tour the art gallery that was their big lounge. I could hear the coffee machine whirring in the kitchen. Then it was quiet for a bit before I heard the sound of water running somewhere nearby. I continued looking at everything displayed, and eventually there were pouring and tinkling sounds. The coffee must be ready. Moments later, Angela came from behind the sofa and sat a tray down on the low table in front of me. "All ready," she exclaimed, and I looked up to see that she was wearing a bathrobe and slippers. She'd taken a quick shower. She smiled sweetly and spoke. "Thanks so much for bringing me home, Greg. I feel a lot better now. I'm not used to a man, a complete stranger, even treating me well. Yeah, I've seen too much of that already. Rocco should appreciate you more. Come sit down here and we'll have coffee together before I go. That's when I noticed that there was only one big mug of coffee, alongside a tumbler of alcohol. Angela saw me looking. The coffee is for you, but it would keep me awake. The booze will help me to sleep. It's been a hard day. Then she looked into my eyes and continued, I can't thank you enough for what you've done tonight, Greg. Angela had turned toward me and sat near me on the sofa. She was close to me, and I felt the tension of the moment, the underlying connection between us. Then a strange feeling came across me, the thought that I didn't want to be another user like Rocco, someone who would just take advantage of her vulnerability and then toss her away. I didn't want to perpetuate that. Angela was simply too good to be treated lightly. I tried to resist the temptation. Tell me, Angie, do you work a career of some sort? I asked to start us talking. I do some fashion modeling, but not as much as when I was younger. Now it's not elegant shows or private shoots, mostly commercial things like catalogs, usually as a mother or an aunt. Oh, I'm in the ad for this coffee you're drinking. And how did Rocco come into this? He doesn't look like he'd run in the same league as you do. My longtime agent. He gets me the work, but I'm not such a big draw as I used to be. Older now, and that's probably why it seems that he just wants to throw me away. That's sad, Angie. You are such a lovely person. And you're so nice, Greg, helping me like this. It's soothing to talk to you, she breathed, swirling her drink as she stared into my face again. Angela looked so gorgeous next to me. My resistance was already weakening. Then she put her free hand on mine. Greg, I hope I can thank you for all the help you've given me. Angie, I'm struggling hard right now. You're a wonderful woman, a beautiful woman, and I don't want to be another jerk like Rocco. In that room, the boundaries between us completely dissolved, and we gave in to the closeness growing between us. This time, I need to be careful with my stitches, right? I wouldn't want anything in my cut. This time, I asked, and she simply replied, yes, this time. I knew there'd be a next time. I got back to my trailer well after 5:00 a.m. The sun would be up in a few hours, but I didn't care after what happened at Angela's apartment. From simply admiring her at corner 2 yesterday, I'd quickly moved on to an intimate encounter with her a little over an hour ago. Life has amazing surprises around every corner. I didn't know that another one was coming very soon. About 3 hours later, I heard a loud thumping at my door, followed quickly by more. Somebody impatient was out there. Half awake, I struggled to open it and saw Rocco scowling behind the outer screen. Have you got my wife in there? He snarled abruptly. No, what are you talking about? I mumbled sleepily. She left last night and is still missing. Why do you think she'd be here? Because you talked to her yesterday. Hey man, you need to keep better track of your wife, I joked. I want to have a look in there. I think she stayed with you last night, he insisted with rising anger. I'd like that a lot, bud, I teased, but she didn't stay here. Now he was angry. So prove it, let me in to check, he shouted. Sure, if you let me go back to sleep after, I mocked. He nodded agreement and pushed in behind me, looking around. That's it, this thing isn't very big, he admitted, searching for some hiding place. I told you so. In the bathroom. Take a look, then let me get back to sleep. Hey, there's a bloody cloth on the counter. Was Angela in here? I had a nosebleed, I lied. Why would blood make you think your wife was here anyway? I had him now, not wanting to admit that he'd hit her. Rocco didn't say anything, turned around and stormed out, slamming the door. I hoped it was the last I'd ever see of him, but that was not to be. I was awake again before noon, my mind filled with what had happened last night. But I was worried now for Angela, concerned that her callous husband would hurt her again when he found out she'd gone home without him. I wasn't anxious for myself. Rocco looked like cream puff, but he'd been violent with her before. I decided to call Angela. We talked on very pleasant terms about last night, and she clearly had no regrets about our time together. Said that she was feeling happy today. "Angie, he came to my trailer looking for you this morning. He wasn't very pleased that you were missing. He probably figured I'd come begging to get back into our rig. He'll be home today or tomorrow. Have you thought about what it'll be like for you then?" "Yes, I worked through that already. I'm finished with Rocco. I decided that after last night. Anyway, my girlfriend said I can stay with her, and I'm packing things right now. I'll be gone from here well before he gets back." "Good idea. I don't want him smacking you again. He's done that for the last time. You reminded me what a real man is like. Thanks, Greg. Well, you brought back to me how it is with a fine woman. Been a long time. So when will I see you again?" I thought for a few moments, then replied, "I noticed all the art at your place. You must like it, right?" "I thought so. Me too. I'm in graphic design. I could come to the city for a day and you could show me the galleries. Maybe we could go out for supper." "Yes, and then back to my girlfriend's place after," she suggested, quite openly. "Yeah, I'd like that, or I can get a room. Let me know when and we'll do it." Then Angela went quiet as though she had something on her mind. I waited for her to talk some more, and I was glad that I didn't rush my goodbye. "Greg, can I be honest with you? I'm feeling something inside today, like I'm looking at a better tomorrow, like I can start to live again." "That's what you deserve, Angie. A better time than you've been going through." I know, but I'm talking about you. Do you think there's a chance?" "Maybe so. Last night when I hesitated." "Until I changed your mind, right?" she laughed. "Yes, I don't think there'll be any more resisting." Feeling the tension build. Thousands of more private stories are waiting in my exclusive archive. The link is in the channel description. Maybe there's a chance for us, but first you need to shake Rocco loose. Why not talk to a lawyer about a separation if you want to get away from him? Be sure they see the doctor's report and the photos. They might even get a restraining order since he was violent with you. I will. You've got me feeling so good today, Greg Carpenter." I was grinning from ear to ear when I rang off and headed over to Corner 2 for the afternoon feature races. My thoughts were so focused on Angela that I hardly remember watching them. The next week was a constant flurry of phone calls and text messages. I was as hot for Angela as I had ever been for anyone else. She didn't disappoint either, sending me very fashionable selfies of herself when I complained that I was having trouble remembering everything about her. Not sexting, my God, our combined age was about 90. Leave that to the young and foolish. Angela told me that she'd been to a lawyer and shown her the doctor's report and photos. The lady was tough and had immediately taken steps to see that the police were aware of Rocco's history with his wife. He knew that she was staying with her girlfriend now, but so far had kept his distance. Angela had a new phone number too. Over the next little while, we talked about a daytime visit from my place, a couple of hours' drive from where she was staying. Then one evening she had a meeting date for me. Could I make it to see her? "How is this Saturday for you, Greg? My girlfriend will be away for the weekend." "Saturday is perfect. Let's spend plenty of time together and have some fun," I hinted broadly. "Great, I'm hoping that you'll stay over too." Angela wasn't shy about her intentions, and that suited me fine. Saturday couldn't come soon enough for me. I arrived in the early afternoon, and when she hopped into the car, I was blown away. Angela wore a very short, summery dress. Her expensive perfume enveloped me and filled the car. Then she leaned my way for a kiss. What a woman! "So happy to see you, Greg," she said to me. "I have a lovely day and night planned for us," she intimated. The promise of a lovely night was incredibly good news, because I had thought of little else since she mentioned me sleeping over at her place. Then we started off. First of all, she directed me to the big art gallery, a place with which she was clearly quite familiar. Her tastes ran to 20th century works, especially those vibrant, colorful panels created during the 1950s, big canvases often with angular parallel strokes of contrasting colors. No connoisseur of art, I wondered what Angela was examining so intently. "This is art. I think that a little kid could have done this one," I commented. "Pieces like this were real turning points in the art scene, a bold vision," she explained. "They express the dynamism of the time. They're breaking away from old ways, old standards. Then along came the 60s, and that's exactly what happened." "You're telling me that this simple-looking painting was pointing to what actually came next?" "Yes, I believe the artist tries to see the world as it could be." "A sort of futurist?" I asked, trying to look art-savvy. "Exactly. So you don't think they just dab something on canvas and then decide what it looks like or what it means afterward? Are they just laughing at the rest of us?" Interesting questions. No, I disagree, but let's talk about it over a coffee. Rocco was a clod about art and always angry when I'd buy something new for our lounge. I want you to be more informed about it. It sounded like Angela had long-range plans for me. The whole day passed like a dream with this warm and beautiful woman. I learned a great deal about art before we went to a smaller private gallery. I was astounded at the cost of some of the works, but Angela explained that talent of any kind doesn't come cheap. Afterwards, we had a private table at a fine restaurant and lingered over wine and liqueurs until the sun was setting. Finally, Angela purred the magic words. "Let's go back to my place now. A wonderful day like this can only get better." A little later, we stood in front of each other, our eyes locked together. Mine broke away to admire the beautiful woman before me. The ash-blonde hair, the cherry lips, the long, slender neck and her figure. Tonight we had all the time in the world, not like the last time before I had to rush back to the track. "My lip is better than our first time," she smiled. We spent the night together, finding the deep connection and intimacy we had both been waiting for. It was paradise, all right, but in her girlfriend's bed. We murmured affections between kisses, sighs and moans, a soundtrack to love. By the time morning came, everything had changed between us, and the bond we formed that night made it clear that we were ready to face whatever came next together. The next few months flew by fast. I was totally preoccupied with Angela and wasn't the model employee at my graphic design job, doing just enough to get by. My longtime boss noticed, and we had a heart-to-heart talk, reminding me to stay focused. I assured him that I'd try harder. One night Angela called me, very upset. She was legally separated now and set on a divorce, but Rocco was resisting. He knew where she lived with her girlfriend and persisted in coming around with gifts and promises to do better. Angela wanted nothing more to do with him. Then he showed up at her door drunk and barged in demanding that she come home to their apartment. He'd been drinking again and it was awful, she complained. Started out begging me to come home, then cursed me when I refused. Terrible things. He accused me of already having somebody to replace him. What did you say to that, Angie? I said that I wouldn't want another one like him, and that it really wasn't any of his business since he'd told me to just fuck off that night at the track. Then what happened? Shauna was in the bedroom so we'd have privacy, but she heard him getting angry. So she called the cops in case he got violent. And when they got there, he swung at one of them so they cuffed him and took him away. He was charged. What an ass. Now Angela was worried that he might hurt her again. I told her that I'd take the next day off work to come and see her so that we could work something out together. I was there to pick her up for lunch. She hopped into the car and we talked right away. "You're really worried about him, aren't you, baby?" I sympathized. "Yes, he's harassing me, and it reminds me too much of the way he used to be such a control freak. I just wish he'd go away, or that I could get away from him." "Would you move again so he couldn't find you?" I asked, ready to float an idea that had occurred to me on the drive that morning. "Somewhere safe, yes, but it would be better with a girlfriend or a relative. I wouldn't feel like a stranger that way." "I was thinking about my apartment," I suggested. "Your place, oh my God, in another city a few hours away. That would be amazing, Greg, amazing. Are you sure? I have a lot of clothes and stuff." Angela was clearly excited by the idea. "I can't think of anyone that I'd rather share my apartment with. I think about you half the day anyway. So why not have you there with me?" "Oh, Greg, that would be fantastic. No more Rocco and all of you. Maybe I could find a new agent there and get back into my modeling career. It's been on hold since I moved out." "So we'll do it then. Good. Now where would you like to go for lunch, Angie?" "Back upstairs in the apartment," she grinned. "Shauna's at work now." We went back up to the apartment. I'd been in there a few times with Angie before, so it didn't seem as strange as it had the first time. In the quiet of the apartment, the bond between us only grew stronger, and by the time we left the room, our plans for the future felt completely solid. We spent the early afternoon together, enjoying each other's company in the quiet apartment. Shauna came home a little earlier than expected and walked into the bedroom, not suspecting anything. Angela was a bit embarrassed, but her roommate took it in stride, simply commenting that the sheets would have to be changed before she'd sleep in there tonight. Then she lamented that she hadn't had a man in her bed for quite some time. "Don't think you're going to have this one," Angie shot back in mock anger. "He's all mine." By now it was autumn, bringing a sharp change of season in this northern clime. Angel began to complain that she had no cold weather clothing or coats and boots to wear. She'd taken what she could grab on her spring escape from the apartment she shared with Rocco, but it wasn't enough. And there were family keepsakes she wanted: 2 pictures, jewelry, bits of furniture, and the like. Through her lawyer, Angela arranged for us to pick things up. But Rocco played petulant he wasn't going to let her go without a fight. The first couple of times we drove to the city, he wasn't there, and the locks were changed. Finally, with some pressure from his own lawyer, he relented on the next attempt, though he wasn't in a cooperative mood. "Oh, you're the guy from the track. You bastard, you stole my wife," he shouted at me. I laughed at him. "'Fraid not, Rocco, you threw her out and I caught her, you dumb ass." "Why, fuck her," he spit out and stepped toward me. "Careful, Rocco," Angela hissed at him. "He'll hurt you and you know it. He works out a lot, so just back off." Then she stepped behind me in case he got stupid. I gave him my most menacing look and I could see him sizing me up. He was a lot younger than me, but I had height, weight, and muscle on him. Rocco saw it and wisely stepped back. "Now let's just get her things and move on. We don't want any trouble here," I said calmly to ease the situation. Angela's husband, they still weren't divorced, stared at me, then shrugged his shoulders and moved aside. He knew that he couldn't withhold what the law said belonged to her. "I want to see everything you're taking," Rocco said bitterly. "I've got a list from my lawyer." There was a great deal of stuff, several trips to and from my vehicle. Angela was excited, going on about how much I'd like seeing everything on her. There were a lot of clothes, but she's a model, so it really didn't surprise me very much. Greg, I have my favorite red gown for your company Christmas party. Wait till you see this one. Christmas couldn't come soon enough. We were listening to the car radio as we drove back with all her treasures. I was tuned in to an oldie station, songs that went back to Angela's childhood and beyond. As she chattered on about all her favorite winter clothes, a tune she'd never heard before caught her attention. A slow, sad classic unusual for the Stones rolled out, featuring her name. Oh, Angie, don't you weep. All your kisses still taste sweet. I hate the sadness in your eyes. But Angie, Angie, ain't it time we said goodbye? Angela was quiet as she listened, then she looked at me, blinking back tears, and took my free hand, pressing it to her lips. It was a side of her that I hadn't seen since that night she rushed into my trailer so vulnerable, so unsure. Rocco had left his mark on her. What a sad song, Angie whispered. We won't say goodbye, will we, Greg? Not a chance. Just listen to the rest of it. You'll like the ending, I assured her softly, squeezing her hand. There ain't a woman that comes close to you. Come on, baby, dry your eyes. Angie, Angie, ain't it good to be alive? Corner 2 is the best place on the circuit to watch a motor race. The action is fierce, so close to the spectators, and fairly often hapless drivers pile into the big rows of tires stacked along the concrete wall. I go there every chance I get. Rocco stands scowling along the fence near the corner marshal's signal platform, a prime viewing spot. Angela is not too far away, but he's paying no attention to her again today, seemingly immersed in the action. Angie looks just as gorgeous as she did last year, her ash blonde hair stylishly cut, bobbed under a cute black beret. She's tall and willowy, so lovely that it's hard for me to take my eyes off her. Beautiful Angela wears her new black and orange McLaren Formula One leathers that match my own, and I'm close beside her, arm possessively looped around her slim waist. Rocco slouches sullenly on the fence a meter or so to my other side, away from Angela. Now she's looking my way, but I notice that her eyes are actually focused past me. Angela is staring right at Rocco and sneering as she tosses barbs at him in a lowered voice. I'm seeing yet another side of this sweet woman, an inner rage. Rocco, you worm, you tossed me out. Well, I'm with him now. I'm never coming back. Do you hear me? Never. This is Angela's revenge. For past neglect and mistreatment, she's taunting him. She's daring him to say something to put her back in her place. She is challenging Rocco to try being the petty dictator that she endured so often. Now he turns away, pretending to look down the hill to the bottom of the track. There are few people around, so Angela goads him in a louder voice, forcing her pent-up invective on him. Go to hell, Rocco, you despicable little rat, I hate you, she hisses at him. Finally, he doesn't want any more and turns to leave. He won't risk a split lip from me, like the one he gave my lady Angela last year. I can't resist turning around to taunt him more myself. Hey man, enjoying the race this year, leaving already are you? Ah, too bad. Angie and I both laugh as he looks down and slinks away. It's just the two of us now, me and my lovely Angela. Arm in arm here at Corner 2. I hope you enjoyed this story. More intimate confessions are waiting in the private archive linked in the description. Subscribe for the next story.